Greetings, everyone. So it's raining right now, and because it's raining, I'm just going to go ahead and have a little mini crab boil. I got 2 pounds of crab legs clusters, lobster tails, sausage, shrimp, corn, and potatoes. I haven't put those in yet. For tomorrow's smoke, we have some boneless pork chops, ribs, of course. We're going to do this beef brisket here. We're going to do the flat part of the brisket because it was on sale, so I couldn't pass it up. I'll throw this extra piece of sausage on there. And this is going on the grill. This is Diez Mio. I hope I'm saying it right. It's a Spanish, Mexican cut from the chuck. And they cut it thin, and then they put their marinade on it, and it is incredibly delicious. So I have 2 pounds of that. I'm gonna throw that on the grill, and everything else is going on the smoker for tomorrow. Today, it's seafood. So I'll be back, and hopefully the rain will stop and we can get the smoke going. Here's the brisket. It's a 3.5 pound brisket flat. And what I'm gonna do first is I'm going to inject it with some of this beef broth. So I mix about 1.5 teaspoons of this into some warm water, and I'm waiting for it to dissolve. And then I'm going to use this injector here and inject it with the grain of the meat. You're also going to cut against the grain of the meat. I inject with the grain because I don't want to see holes in the meat when I go to slice it. So this way, if you inject with the grain, the holes run along with the grain of the meat and you won't have any holes. And then now I'm going to put my brisket rub onto this. I didn't trim it because there's not much to trim. Excuse the noise, that's my dog. There's not much to trim. So I'm going to go ahead and put the dry rub on there, coat it on all sides, and then wrap it up and stick it in the fridge until tomorrow. Here we have the brisket. The dry rub has been put on all sides of this. That's the fat side up. I'm going to cook it fat side down because on my smoker the heat comes from the bottom, and the fat will kind of protect the meat from burning on the other side, or I'd rather the fat side burn than the meat side. So fat side down when the heat source is coming up to protect the meat. Or you could do it fat side up, whatever you want to do, doesn't matter. But that's how I'm going to do it. This rub started off as just salt and pepper like they do in Texas, but I'm not from Texas, so I added some garlic powder, onion powder, black pepper is already in there. I know there's something else in it because it has some color to it, but it's pretty good. So that's it for the brisket. It's going to get wrapped up and put in the refrigerator until tomorrow. Here's the baby back. It doesn't need much trimming aside from the membrane that I took off the back. But other than that, it's pretty much already trimmed up pretty good. So I'm going to go ahead and excuse me, put my dry rub on it without any mustard. As I said before, you don't really need mustard because I've found that the dry rub will stick to the meat without mustard. So I'm going to put the dry rub on it, wrap it up, put this in the fridge, and there you have it. A well seasoned slab of ribs. I'm not even going to let this sweat. I'm just going to go ahead and wrap it up and put it in the refrigerator. And that's the boneless ribeye pork chops seasoned with a Brazilian marinade. And that's going to go in the refrigerator And then hopefully it doesn't rain tomorrow and I can cook all this stuff tomorrow. Otherwise, I'll be eating chicken and rice for, well, the rest of the week for work. It's calling for 60% chance of rain today. So I won't be smoking any ribs or brisket. I'm going to put the pork chops and the Diaz Mio steak on the grill. I'm using the lump hardwood charcoal, so I don't feel like going up to the attic to get the regular charcoal briquettes. But I just want to say again that this brand, and I'm not a spokesperson and I'm not getting paid, but they have some decent size hardwood in it, as you can see here. You know, it's got some nice chunks, so I took those out when they came out the bag because these are too big for my grilling purposes, and these I'll save for when I use the smoker. So we will continue this video probably next weekend, but you guys won't notice that until you hear this video, that it's been a week later. All right, see you then. Well, look at that. Clear skies. A few clouds here and there, but otherwise, it's going to be a great day for smoking. In the meantime, so here's the charcoal basket. I've only used it twice, and it has already started warping. All the nuts and bolts are still in place, but yeah, I think the heat got to it and just warped it out of its original shape. Everything's still in place, so we'll see how long it lasts. I'm going to load it up with some hardwood charcoal and a few sticks of maple wood or hickory, and I'll show you guys what we have before we get started smoking this meat. So here's the charcoal basket filled up with lump hardwood, and I got 4 pieces of hickory chunks at each corner, and then I have 1 mesquite chunk and a maple split in there. And then this is the charcoal chimney starter. Get that lit and dump it on top of that, and that'll get everything going. All right, stand by. Good morning. It's about 6:35 a.m. I'm going to go ahead and get these lit. Put that inside of there and wait for that dial to go up and watch the smoke come out of that, and get these ribs, chicken, brisket, maybe something else cooked. All right. The fire's going inside the firebox, and I got the 2 maple logs on the inside getting warm. So I'm waiting for all this dirty, gray, nasty smoke to clear out before I put the racks back in and put the meat in. So after all that clears out, I'll get it loaded up and I'll show you what I have. So before I go any further, I'm using the Old Country Smokehouse made by Old Country Barbecue Pits, coming out of Mexico. So everything's inside. That's 1 slab of ribs, brisket, meat probe, and the brisket, chicken wings, just regular chicken wings. I don't know if I'm gonna put barbecue sauce on it or something else. And that's it for today's cook. So the ribs will probably take about five hours start to finish. Brisket probably 7 hours on the brisket. Wings, not too long. So right now the internal temperature of the brisket is 50 degrees. And I had the temperature alarm set for 160. And there is my current firebox situation. It's pretty hot in there. The other one's already starting to catch a little fire, but it's okay. Dampers at about that much. And the chimney stack's wide open. And the temperatures will be coming back up and hopefully settling in. See you guys in a bit. It's about 25 minutes, 30 minutes later. Temperatures have settled in, I think. So we got 250 at the top and just a little bit over 250 on the bottom. So I'm good with that. The brisket has gone up to 69. I'm not even going to open it. Just going to let it do its thing. And I did close the top stack just a little bit. And very clear smoke coming out. You can barely see any smoke, but okay. I'll be back in a little bit. Well, I came out to check on the smoker because while I was in the backyard, you know, I can see from over the fence. I saw a little bit more smoke coming from my stacks than earlier. So I came out to check and see what was going on. And what happened was one of the logs in the back had caught on, you know, it started cooking, started burning. So that was one of the reasons why there was a little bit more smoke coming out. And then that one in the front right there started burning. So I had to put it out with a little bit of water, and then I stuck it back in there. And then the temperatures were climbing, and it was at about 300. And my water pan was empty, which explains why the temperature was going up. So I filled everything back up, filled the water pan back up. Temperatures are back to normal, I should say. I don't know what's up with this one. I mean, I guess it's almost the same. I'm going to replace that one eventually, but it's not a big issue. All right. I shall let it continue doing what it's doing. It has been 2 hours. I've already added that log to the firebox. Let's take a look. Ribs have a good color. Brisket, it's going to need to get a little spritzing going on. Wings are coming along just nicely. Temp on the internal of the brisket is 147. So I'm going to go ahead and spritz the ribs, the chicken, the brisket, and close it back up. I came out about 10 minutes ago, check on everything, and the temperatures had gone down to about 225. So I went ahead and put the log that was warming up into the charcoal basket, and it caught immediately. So that's the good thing about being able to keep your wood on the side and let it get warmed up. It will catch fire like as soon as you put it in there. So everything's back up and running, and I'll be back later on. We are at the 3-hour mark, and everything's looking good. Let's see where the brisket is at. Oh, brisket's at 165. Ribs are looking good. I think I'm gonna go ahead and take those off and wrap them up. The brisket is not getting the color that I would like, so I'm gonna leave this unwrapped for a little bit longer. And the wings, go ahead and take those off. I do want to say things are a lot easier with the charcoal basket in place. I don't have to come out here as often with the charcoal basket. So that's about it. Go ahead and wrap up these ribs, and we'll be back later on. Here are the wings. I took them off, and well, that one got a little crispy, but everything else looks fine. I may or may not throw some barbecue sauce on it. I went to go get the ribs off, and it's already passing the bend test. So let's go outside and I'll show you what I'm talking about. Alright, so I just opened the grill, the smoker, so the temps did come down a little bit. So you can see the bones are showing. The meat is pulled back on the bone about 1/2 inch. So it's already looking like it's almost ready. So when you pick it up, see how it bends like that? It's almost there. Like I could wrap these up for like maybe an hour and they'll be perfect. But I'm not going to do that. I'm just go ahead and let it ride. No wrapping. This brisket, whatever. So another hour with the ribs, and then I'll sauce them and finish them up. By the way, here's what the charcoal basket firebox is looking like. I'll probably throw one of those on there because I'm getting some smaller coals back there, so I'm gonna go ahead and put that on there, and then just control the temperatures with my dampers on the firebox door. And there you have it, immediate fire with that preheated piece of wood in there. So I'm gonna let that burn a little bit, and then I'll go ahead and close the door. All right, 4.5 hours, and these ribs are done. They are passing the bend test with ease. They have a nice color. I didn't wrap them, so I'm going to take them off and sauce them, put them back on for a little bit, spritz the brisket, and I'm going to increase the temperature on this, so I'm bringing it up to about 275 if I can. So what I'm going to do now is see how this probe goes into the meat. If it slides in like butter, like that, like that, like that. So these are good. No resistance whatsoever. So I'm going to get some barbecue sauce, nothing special. Sweet Baby Ray's or whoever's in the refrigerator. Sauce them up, put them back on the grill. The ribs are done. I'm going to let them rest for a few minutes before I slice them And the brisket is still on the smoker. The Old Country vertical smokehouse smoker. So that's going to be some more hours, probably another 4 hours before it's done. So in the meantime, I'll do some stuff around the house, show you what these ribs look like after they've been sliced, and then we'll take it out with the brisket. Here they are, all sliced up. Won't be going to any competition with these ribs, but they'll do just fine for personal use. So I'm going to wait for the brisket to be done, and in the meantime, you guys do whatever it is you do, and I'll be back. Alright, so it's been a little over 7 hours. The brisket had stalled at about 183 for the last 2 hours, and it's now gone up to 190. Let's take a look. You know, to me, this thing looks like a big piece of pot roast chuck or whatever it's called. But I'll give it another hour and see where it's at with the temps. And if it's still sitting around 190, I'll go ahead and wrap it. I just needed to get to 205, and then I can take it off and let it sit for another hour. I did put another log on there, 2 of them actually. And I got the firebox door open because that one on top was not in the warmer. We're not getting warmed up. Alright, see you guys in a little bit. Alright, that's close enough for me. It's almost 8 hours. Yeah, actually it is 8 hours. And there's the brisket. I didn't wrap it, so we'll see how tender it is. But I will wrap it now that I'm taking it off. And then I'll let it rest, and then I'll slice it and show you guys the end result. Here's what it looks like wrapped. I mean, this thing looks like a big butterball turkey, and it's supposed to be a flat. But, oh well. It is what it is, so I'm gonna let it sit. I wrapped it 3 times in heavy duty foil. I'm gonna let it sit for about 45 minutes, and then slice into it and see what it looks like. Be right back. Here it is. This big old round brisket. It's got a nice pink ring. That's the ends pieces that I sliced off. Let's see. We got some kind of juice in there. It's not all completely dried out, I don't think. So I'm gonna slice into this and give it a little taste test. So certain parts of it was juicy, and certain parts was not. As you can see right here, this is where I started slicing it from, the smaller end. You can see how dry it looks. The seasoning, you know, it tastes pretty good, but it's a little drier than I'd like it to be. Luckily, I still have some of the liquid from when I wrapped it. So I should have just wrapped it sooner or earlier and then let it finish the last couple of hours. Anyway, you live and you learn. And yes, that is an electric knife. I've had this thing for many, many years, and I've only used it twice. But this slice is pretty good. Thank you all for watching. This concludes this video of the Old Country vertical smoker.